Welcome to Champion Hill, friends. Knock out the other teams to win the day.
What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be talking about the upcoming alpha for Call of Duty Vanguard, how to preload a part of the game early starting tomorrow, and some other new information that got shared earlier this afternoon. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, and let me know in the comments, do you guys have a PlayStation to take part in the upcoming alpha for Vanguard multiplayer? I wish there were more PS5s out there that were available, but because of scalpers, of course, some people may just have to pick up a PS4 Pro if they care enough about exclusivity for the Call of Duty franchise. But congrats to both Atlanta FaZe and Toronto Ultra for playing some tough multiplayer earlier today for the finale of the Cold War competitive season. It was a ton of fun to watch. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you guys tuned in, we try to make some light out of some sweaty multiplayer in case you guys weren't fans of CDL information or CDL gameplay. I think we had a good time on stream earlier, but if you guys missed the stream, I do have it as a VOD on the channel. Also, excuse my voice. I am losing it a little bit after the amount of fun we had on stream earlier, but hopefully we're all good for this commentary. FaZe Final Tacoma Championship for Black Ops Cold War. A solid game to do it on, and they ended off the entire series on a great map, which was Apocalypse. Let me know how you felt about that down below in the comments. But we did have some confusion in terms of the quote-unquote big reveal that was going to be happening during CDL 2021, the championships today. You know, they had described it as a quote-unquote big reveal for Vanguard multiplayer, but what ended up happening out of nowhere was they played the campaign trailer for Vanguard, and we're like, wait, did we just get blue-balled? But then all of a sudden, we got to sit down with the head of multiplayer, a actual Sledgehammer dev, and he went ahead and described that the full multiplayer reveal itself will be on September the 7th. That's a Tuesday. As I said before, I'm sure they'll perfectly time everything together where Season 5 Reloaded and the numbers events for Cold War probably go live shortly before the beta does for Vanguard, so nothing intertwines with one another. I'm sure that'll work out perfectly. I went over more about that in a video that I posted last night, but we got confirmation that, yes, Vanguard is going to launch with 20 multiplayer maps. 16 of those will be for 6v6, so raw multiplayer as we all love, and 4 of those maps will be for the new Champion Hill mode. And when was the last time we ever got that for the launch period of a Call of Duty game? It feels like we're back in, 2011, 2013. I mean, this is fantastic to hear about, and we do know the 4 current maps that we're going to be seeing in the alpha for Champion Hill are Airstrip, Train Yard, Market, and Courtyard. And regardless of the quantity of content, as I said before, I prefer quality over quantity, but you know what, regardless if they add 20 multiplayer maps per season with a big DLC update, people will still say, you know what, that's fine, but SPMM, the game's ruined. So either way, there's no winning with a majority of the Call of Duty community here, but this is still great information, and I'm sure we'll hear more about the other 16 maps closer to release. But Champion Hill sounds like a lot of fun. We'll talk more about that in a second. What's more important than even that is the fact that you can preload a part of Vanguard starting tomorrow on August 23rd at 3 a.m. Pacific. You'll be able to preload the alpha itself on your PS4 or PS5, while the alpha will then go live on August 27th at 10 a.m. Pacific and will end on the 29th. No PlayStation Plus is required to play the alpha, which is similar to how the alpha worked before with Modern Warfare and Black Ops Cold War. Modern Warfare had a gunfight alpha, just simple 2v2, and Cold War's alpha was a bit different. It should have just been combined arms or fire team, but it ended up being almost a smaller version of a beta. So the problem with Cold War was that after then the beta came out for Black Ops Cold War multiplayer, people felt burnt out on the game by the time it actually came out because there wasn't much left that was different and wasn't a part of the alpha or beta once the game finally came out. So I think making sure that you limit the amount of content in an alpha and beta so that launch still feels fresh is important to do. So I think Vanguard's going to do it the right way, where the alpha is once again just a small mode with a number of limited maps, and then the beta will have a bit more content, but not too much, where launch already feels boring. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, what you could expect over in Champion Hill, and are encouraged to, is explore reactive environments across the 4 maps within Champion Hill, breaking destructible barriers, doors, and other obstructions to create new sight lines, or catch a would-be camper by surprise. 8 teams, 4 arenas. You can play either 2v2 and 3v3, and this is essentially Gunfight on steroids with elements of Heist from Black Ops 4, a fantastic game mode, didn't get enough love, along with Battle Royale. And you get a buy station in between to go ahead and craft items, killstreaks, weapons, add attachments. It's interesting, as it was pointed out by the Modern Warfare 2 Ghost, that Champion Hill is played on one large map, just split into into 4 sections, and one other section for the buy station, of course. So maybe the whole map will be brought together for another large-scale mode in the future, or maybe they'll, you know, put together some of these smaller regions and make 6v6 maps out of them. So I can already see some complaints happening at launch if, for whatever reason, some of these maps in Champion Hill get combined with other maps to form a 6v6 experience. That'll definitely happen, but it's kind of like how Verdansk works, where parts of Verdansk were broken up and formed 6v6 maps for Modern Warfare multiplayer, or Ground War, and even in Cold War's situation, right? You have little areas of multiplayer maps broken up into gunfight maps. I mean, we've seen that before time and time again, and I'm okay with reusing content as long as it's repurposed in a meaningful way. So I definitely wouldn't be surprised if at some point they end up using the Vanguard Warzone map and breaking that up into regions and using those regions for a larger scaled ground war mode, possibly War from World War II 2017, or even something like a 6v6 map, possibly even Outbreak. You never know if they want to bring that back for zombies. Now, they also mentioned they'll get hands-on with some of the game's armaments, including being able to modify some with up to 10 attachments. So yes, Gunsmith is back in Vanguard multiplayer with a bit of a spin on it, and again, we're going to get separate blog posts explaining how everything works in terms of these features closer to release. But for now, they're giving us a bit of a taste as to what that's going to be like, and that's the point of the alpha, right? The point of the alpha is just to get a feel for the game, how the gunplay works, how some of the maps look, you know, and with an alpha and a beta, there's plenty of opportunity for Sledgehammer to polish the game as much as possible before it officially comes out in November. Now, we do get a glimpse of Destructible environments in the trailer itself. You know, you can throw a grenade into a room, everything will move and be affected. You can shoot through planks, and as they are destroyed, you can create new sight lines. I mean, you can destroy a door, open areas up on the map, and much more as they describe. I think people also had mentioned, if they saw early gameplay, that you can also destroy windows. I mean, Vanguard going forward will end up setting a new precedent for how that's going to work, and that's fine because Call of Duty Ghost to me was ahead of its time with dynamic map events and, you know, changing environments if you call in a nuke. I mean, that's something that never really got brought back, but I can certainly see coming back if Destructible environments are very popular at launch of Vanguard. They could probably turn it up a couple of notches for some future DLC maps without a doubt. And this could even solve a bit of a camping problem. I mean, if most of the camping areas on some of these new Vanguard maps have Destructible planks next to them, then you can pretty much solve the issue with people that want to sit in a corner. You can snipe through them, you know, if they're behind the plank. I'm sure not every camping spot will have a Destructible plank near them, but for the most part, I think it's going to be able to balance things out in case you get too frustrated with how players are playing the game over on release. And we did get a report from the Modern Warfare 2 Ghost, current insider, that TTK will be just like Modern Warfare over in Vanguard. But don't freak out just yet. I mean, that could just be an early build of the multiplayer that has that. After the alpha, that'll be adjusted. After the beta, could adjust it again. I mean, and then by launch, you may end up seeing a much different game than what was originally reported many months ago. Similar to how many leakers, journalists, and insiders a couple of months ago were saying that Vanguard was in very bad shape, and now it's not. Clearly, it's going to launch with a lot of content, a lot of crazy features, so they could turn the game around very quickly. And again, Modern Warfare is not my cup of tea. It may be yours, and that's totally fine. We could all have differing opinions. I think finding a sweet spot in between Modern Warfare 2019 and Cold War is probably where they want to be. World War II had a fine TTK a couple of years ago, so I'm sure they'll adjust things as needed and won't, you know, be ignorant towards a community issue. They'll definitely respond to it as soon as they can. Sledgehammer's been real vocal on Twitter lately, so I see no issue with the game launching with a few problems and then them getting fixed by the time it comes out on November the 5th. But here's some very important information about the beta and launch window of Vanguard. So it was also confirmed today that we have early access for PlayStation 4 and 5 on September 10th through the 13th if you digitally pre-order Call of Duty Vanguard. So again, this is an early access period if you pre-ordered, and this is going to be great. I mean, plenty of time right there to go ahead and get your hands on multiplayer. We then have early access for Xbox and Battle.net on September the 16th through the 17th. As you can see, it's slightly shorter for other platforms to get early access. And while Xbox and PC have early access, PSN will also have access to Vanguard at the very same time. So lots more opportunity for PlayStation there. And then the open beta on all platforms with no requirement of a code will be September 18th through the 20th. So that's many, many days, if you're on PlayStation at least, to really play Vanguard. So if you guys are on PS4, PS5, I'd recommend giving yourself a break, not playing too much so that you don't get burnt out of the game by the time it finally comes out in November. And I get it, right? Whenever a beta comes out, we all play the living hell out of it, right? We can't stop playing, we get addicted. But make sure you don't play for too long to where once the game comes out, you're like, all right, I played all this already, I have nothing new to really try. But I'm sure, right, the beta will maybe have 5 to 6 maps max, and then by the time the game launches, you'll get the remaining to give you a total of 16 for 6v6. We should be okay in terms of content, but if you guys digitally pre-order Vanguard, you do not need a code whatsoever to play the beta or get early access. Hopefully that makes sense. If you physically pre-order, I'm not too sure on how that's going to work. I don't know if you have to get a code printed on your receipts or if you have to apply elsewhere. Not sure how that works exactly, but I'll find that out and update you guys in a separate video. Lots of opportunities to play the game early, as you guys can hear, but what's also really important is something that was pointed out by Modern Warzone a couple of days ago, and that is that you will only be able to play a PS4 version of Vanguard on your PS5 if you get the standard edition of the game. If you do get the cross-gen or ultimate edition of the game on PS5, you will then have access to the enhanced PS5 clients for Vanguard. So that's different. That's something that I did not expect to see at all, and I'm not sure if that's just meant to encourage players to buy a bigger edition of the game. It's fairly confusing to even explain, and if you guys are confused, try to drop a comment down below and I'll get to it as soon as I can. But with that being said, like I said, if you get a standard PS5 version of Vanguard, it'll kind of be like Warzone, where you're playing it on PS5, but the client itself is built for PS4, so you're not going to be taking full advantage of that platform's capabilities. So I guess you could say if you invested in a next-gen console, you have to spend a little bit more money to really get your hands on a true next-gen experience for the upcoming Call of Duty. And I'm sure with enough backlash, if it does get backlash, they'll end up changing how that works for Modern Warfare 2 next year and Treyarch's next COD in 2023. Now, it was also confirmed that we're going to be seeing kill streaks instead of score streaks in Vanguard multiplayer. They hinted at that in the blog post earlier today, and we do get a glimpse of what looks like a new version of the minigun in the Champion Hill trailer, so we're probably going to get some fan favorite kill streaks that were in World War II 2017 and some newer ones, of course. There were, of course, rumors about other kill streaks in the past, like a recon drone, I think a Juggernaut. There's going to be some cool streaks in this game without a doubt, but how do you guys feel about kill streaks versus score streaks? I mean, arguments could be made either way, in my opinion. You could say score streaks are better because it encourages players to actually play OBJ, but then at the same time, gives players an advantage to get streaks without even getting kills or being good at the game, just sitting on flags, sitting in objective points. So you can say that, and then you can also say with kill streaks, it's harder to get some streaks if you're not good, and it's not really enticing for casuals. But maybe they'll bring kill streaks back, but at the same time incorporate Cold War's mechanism for multiplayer where they don't reset on death. We don't know how that's going to work just yet. I'm sure we'll learn that information during the full reveal on September the 7th, but, you know, it's an argument to be had, right? For either or. Both sides make sense to me. I personally don't mind. I enjoy both. And they also confirmed the return of the V2 rocket in Vanguard, which is kind of ironic because earlier on stream I was getting questions about if there was going to be a nuke in the game, and of course we don't know yet, but all of a sudden they dropped a little teaser about that. So yes, the V2 rocket from World War II is making a return in Sledgehammer's new game. But last and definitely not least, headquarters. So there has been no mention whatsoever about such a feature returning, and I'm not sure if any journalists or the press have asked Sledgehammer or Activision about this. I'm sure they probably have, and a statement about it will come out closer to release. Or there's even a possibility that we end up getting a full reveal of that with its own trailer, you know, in the next couple of weeks. I mean, anything is possible considering Sledgehammer has a massive studio now. They know we all loved the feature a couple of years ago, and we have next-gen consoles now, which can create seamless transitions from the menu into that feature. They can do so much more with headquarters as well, with a bigger studio, more time to work on it. I love the fact that in 2017, we had, you know, an area where you can sit with your friends and watch CDL films, or at the time CWL. You know, maybe they could put a theater mode into a feature like that. You can watch some of the live trailers and events with your friends. You can open supply drops in front of them, the 1v1 pit, the firing range to test out some of your new weapons. There was a lot of opportunities with the headquarters that took Call of Duty to a new level that it never saw before, but the feature hasn't come back ever since. Seems like a Sledgehammer thing that they'll be known for and only they'll do. Kind of similar to how Treyarch is really known for theater mode and other devs really haven't done it. Modern Warfare 3 is an exception, but hey, you know what? Anything is possible. Never say never. I think it's really plausible, but at the same time, I'm sure we'll get a confirmation as to whether or not it exists or why it doesn't in the next couple of weeks. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the upcoming alpha for Vanguard multiplayer? How do you feel about being able to preload a part of the game early as of tomorrow? The alpha, that is. And also, what are your thoughts on the early information that Activision went and shared earlier today? Really hope you enjoyed, and peace out, everyone.